Om Shanti. Welcome to the next episode of Masters of Change. Accepting change is not easy. And in this series, we bring you certain individuals who have not only accepted change, but embraced it so beautifully that they have completely transformed their lives and the lives of others around them as well. So today we have with us Sister Antonella. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Sister Antonella is from Italy, and she is associated with Brahma Kumaris since 1988. She also established and ran a successful fashion business. Apart from this, she has also learned spirituality and also teaches spirituality to many people. And also she has recorded various CDs as well for guided meditations. So without further ado, Sister Antonella, can we know more about you? I mean, how did this journey start?
Thank you for having me here today. It's a pleasure. And surely transformation, it's an important journey of life. I think it started quite early in my life when I didn't recognize the culture I was born in. I used to talk about karma when I was this high, and people would not relate to me because it was weird what I would say. So I was a bit different from the rest of people around myself. It's like I didn't fit the culture. And I didn't like it either.
Right.
It's like I was a fish out of water. But then, of course, an example, I didn't like bread, which everybody loves in Italy.
Yeah.
And I used to say, why should I eat this fluffy stuff that, fill your stomach for nothing? So I was just a weird child, probably, talking about karma, talking about, something different. And then when I was 18, I was supposed to be married. And the boy and my mum were talking to each other, saying about the future house. And I remember I was very silent, listening to that talking together, and eventually I came up with a thought that I didn't know where that thought was coming from. And I said, a house is not a house without a room, with nothing, just a carpet, cushion, and a red light, which is meant to be a meditation room.
Yeah.
But I didn't know. So it just came out. And my mom looked at me, and the boy also, saying, you mean you want a studio? No, I don't want a studio. I want a room. Otherwise, the house is not a house. But I was so firm. Has to be carpet, cushion, nothing, red light. And then I asked myself, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
In few days, the engagement was broken. I couldn't cope with that, And it was like I was meant to do something else in my journey. That's why I couldn't fit in that kind of idea. And then after some years, I love to study. So I did my study course in different ways. And eventually I was in Rome. At the same time, the Daddy Kumarka was in Rome, our big director of the Brahma Kumaris. And I had an interesting dream. I dreamt a face of a man, old man, that was not so clear, but clear enough to understand it was not Italian.
Okay. Right.
So I thought, and the voice behind saying, this man is going to tell you the truth. So I woke up excited, saying, where is this man? And which language will he speak?
Yeah.
I used to know English already, because that was one of the things I studied. But I thought, maybe he doesn't speak English, not surely Italian. What language does he speak? And so, because in my understanding, knowing the truth, being very wise, meant something Oriental. I thought maybe it's Chinese. I didn't know. I didn't know anything about India, but I knew, few things about China. So I called the China embassy saying, can I learn Chinese quickly?
Oh, you did that?
Yeah, and they said 3 years is the minimum. So should I wait for 3 years to know the truth? And so 3 consecutive nights, same dream.
Oh.
And eventually I forgot the dreams, but in an unconscious way, I felt that I had to study an Oriental language. So I had to choose between different languages from this side of the world. And when I went to the university in Milan then, I saw a wonderful picture on the wall. And I asked, where is this wonderful place? And they said, Kyoto,
okay.
Japan. Okay. So I thought, fine, I study Japanese.
Okay.
I used to be like spontaneous. So that's fine. I can study Japanese then. And so I did. And I ended up in Japan to practice the language. And that's where I met the Brahma Kumaris. So I had to study an Oriental language to come across a different path. But I didn't remember the dreams anyway until many years after, when sitting for meditation and looking at the picture of our founder, Brahma Baba, then I remember the dreams. That was the man. It was very like a work. He was the man of my dream that made me study and eventually indicate a path. Because I would never study an Oriental language otherwise, I guess. So
what kind of questions? You said that you weren't like all the other kids when you were a kid. So was it difficult for you to fit in that culture? And did you used to ask yourself a lot of questions? Like, why I am this way? Why do I keep seeing things which I can't even answer what they are?
Yeah. Well, I used to understand and think on it with the karma awareness. Like, if you do this, that's your return. And people would say, why do you think in that way? So mainly was around the karma philosophy that was so strong. Because people would say thank you many times, for example. That's part of the culture to say so many thanks. And I was very young, and I used to say, why do you say thank you? They will get the return anyway of what they did. And my father would get you have to say thank you, So, but they get the return of what they do. If they do good, they will get good. If they don't, they will get what they get. Weird in that culture.
Yeah.
And also, I wouldn't relate to Christianity.
Okay.
It wasn't in my feeling, even though it was appreciated, but it wouldn't move anything on a deeper level, like feeling what in your language you say, bhavna. It wouldn't move me any bhavna.
Yeah.
It would just say, good concept, I appreciate it. But it wouldn't touch the heart somehow.
Okay. So how difficult was it to transfer it, to people in your culture, of your culture, back there, native people? Did they accept spirituality?
When I started with this path and I came back to Italy after Japan, I was very involved. I really like it. It really made sense. It was making meaning to my life.
Okay.
Actually, I felt, how can people live without spirituality? Because it was making sense of whatever happened.
Yeah.
And it was giving important answer to life. And so I was so enthusiastic that I would speak to everybody. For example, I would say to everybody, you are a soul? Do you know you are a soul? How can you live without knowing that you are a soul? And some people would accept, and I used to do courses every hour.
Every hour?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I had a small house, So every hour I could just fit 3 people. And so I would give a course, then a little break, then another course, then a little break, then another course. I was just tireless.
Okay.
Because I felt this knowledge changed my life for so much, improved the qualities of my life so much. People should know. So I was tireless in sharing Gyan. And also for myself, which I think is essential, is not just repeating you are a soul, the law of karma, or about the divine being, which I was atheist before. You know, I didn't believe, or I was rejecting the idea of God consistently. So that was an incredible shift in believing it, accepting it, feel it. So whatever, anyway, the theory was fine, but I felt the theory was not enough for me. So I learned to go deeper into every aspect of knowledge.
When we think ourselves as a soul, how does it change? How does we start to behave in a different way? What changes?
It changes my anger. I used to be very angry, very aggressive, like very forceful, strong.
Okay.
That's why I built a business. I was only 23 years old.
Yeah.
And I was wild in a way, in a good way, because I would be very dynamic, but also very forceful.
Fashion industry as well. Fashion industry is, you have to be that way in that field.
Well, I built it a shop and designing dresses from nothing, just because I was extremely creative and the entrepreneur energy, very strong. So that's aggressive, doing things. So nobody would stop me in a way. Only, a spiritual path could change everything. So, and I was very angry about the injustices in the world.
Isn't that nice to have?
To feel angry because of injustices?
Yeah.
It's a mindset, because we are good people. Everybody actually is a very good soul. So when we see something bad or violent, we feel, feel unpleasant, and also it's not right. I remember the thoughts "is not right" was so common in my mind, so frequent in my mind. It's not right. But eventually understanding the karma, which I came to know in a deeper level, that did the biggest change. Understanding that whatever happened is following his own rhythm, and everything is perfectly fitting in his own time.
So how to stop it? If we see some injustice happening in front of us, what should we do? Not create anger, I got it. But what can we do?
If I can intervene, I do. And it did happen. So if I can melt or break the injustice, I will do. So I will do whatever is in my faculty in a good way, not improving the anger of the violence, but reducing it. Or I just become a peace messenger, creating the vibration of peace.
Okay.
Sometimes changing the atmosphere does make a huge difference.
Right.
Two people can fight, and you can be the third person fighting. No? So they give a punch to you too.
Yeah.
So what's the benefit?
Yeah.
But if you create the energy of peace, of harmony, you can make a difference. Actually, it's what I deeply believe, that we can make a difference in whatever way we can right then.
Correct. I wanted to ask you about your business, like fashion business. Did you start it before you came into spirituality, or after you came?
No, much before.
So did you continue with that?
I did.
after spirituality also?
I did for 3 or 4 years.
And then you stopped it?
Yeah, because I didn't feel it was something that would carry on for me. I sold everything.
What made you do that? What made you? Because you established it, your heart must be towards that business. So to sell off that business, I mean...
I wasn't very attached to that.
Okay.
Actually, the main thought was, I don't want to see people coming in a shop as customers. So somebody to use. Funny thoughts, but that was my thought. And while beginning to teach Raja Yoga was to see people coming and on a free level, and just to share on a different level, not as a business.
So can we say your conscience didn't allow you to carry on with that business after spirituality?
A very refined consciousness, I guess, because people have to earn their living. But having sold everything, that was my living.
Okay.
So I could get along well.
Correct. And you're also involved with arts, spirituality and arts.
Yeah.
So how do you think spirituality has a correlation with arts, and how can they coexist?
It was in a way by chance, even though I think arts, it's a nice expression of the soul.
Yeah.
And I used to paint, and my grandparents were both musicians. So I was in a context of arts. Designing dresses was an art.
Yeah.
So I did believe that art, actually I still believe that everybody should have their own artistic expression. Churning knowledge is an art. But anyway, it was by chance, because I felt that we could do something to serve different sector of life, professional. And I remember at the same time in Greece, they used to do symposium of science and spirituality.
Okay.
And in a way, seeing them and successful events, we thought as a team, why don't we do something similar? But Italy probably, arts will fit better.
Yeah. Correct.
It's a kind of very artistic country. And so we said, well, let's do a forum of arts and spirituality. It was really an idea, and we tried it out. I used to live in Sardinia, the first center I opened.
Yeah.
And Sardinia is a wonderful island. People like to see these beautiful places. So that was the first.
Yeah.
And I didn't know anything like how to organize a retreat. But anyway, it worked.
Okay.
And artists came from all over the world.
Wow.
And so that was the beginning of a series. 4 times, I think, 4 years consecutively. And it was nice. And then as everything beginning and then it ends. So we finished that.
And you have also opened 3 centers there in Italy, right? One in Milan, one in Olbia, and the third one in?
Bologna.
Bologna, right, correct. So was it difficult to pull in people, because many people don't believe, as you said, in spirituality?
It was actually easy.
It was easy.
Because few people, but they do make a difference. So in Olbia, the first one, Sardinia, is where I was doing the course all day long.
Okay.
And even the mayor used to come at night, evening, dark,
right.
So people wouldn't see him.
Right.
So it was amazing that, people, it was something new, but accepted.
Okay.
And then Milan was also easy, and definitely Bologna, where I'm staying since the last 20 years. And the amount of people that used to come was such that the center was small, And somebody out of the people there said, you need probably a bigger center.
Yeah.
And they bought a house and gave it as a gift.
That's great. Because the word of mouth goes around, some people benefit, they tell it to different people, and then they all come in.
So it's not a massive response.
Okay.
That will never happen, I guess. But quality response, I think.
So we see in India that many parents want their children to follow this spirituality path, but children these days mostly, they don't, because of patience, they don't consider, because young people, they think that this is not for us. This spirituality and meditation is for people who are above 40, say 50. So, but I think it is needed. I think children in today's time, they need to meditate and they need to follow this path. So parents find it difficult. So what suggestion do you have for parents to send their children on this path or to make them experience this?
Children will never do what the parents won't do. So we have few children coming to the center because their parents are coming to the center.
Right.
And if the parent is giving this kind of example, the child will follow because he will be trying to copy the parents on a level of style of life and also on the level of values. If the parents is inclined to be respectful, honest, the child will be doing the same. I remember my mother, for example, an incredible attitude of honesty and respect. She would not criticize anybody by principle. And so we learned that.
So I want to know that if people want to meditate, how they should start with it. I mean, how should they start? Should they start with guided meditations, or should they just sit in silence or in peace and then try to meditate? How did you do it? How did your journey start? If you can brief us.
We come with the mind which is extremely busy, with thoughts running non-stop.
Yeah.
So if I try by myself to stop that kind of crowdy mind, I will not be able, or what
Correct.
my experience was that.
Okay.
So a recorded commentary is actually very useful because for that length of time, even though the mind gets distracted, it will come back to the words that is listening. So in my experience, recorded commentary made a big difference. And then the practice of that along the time, eventually you don't need it anymore.
For how much time did you use to listen to commentaries and then you stopped listening to commentaries? Was there any period? If you
I
remember?
might not remember that, but for some time, for some months.
All right.
And I enjoyed them very much. It was like comfortable. Somebody is doing the job for me.
Yeah.
And I just follow. And I also learn, because when you follow something, then you learn at the same time.
Correct.
And with children love visualizations. So to make a kind of story that people visualize, the children especially visualize, it will make them easier.
I'm very intrigued if you can guide us for a couple of minutes or 2-3 minutes of guided meditation to end this program. That'll be great.
Sure. So I usually start checking my breath and going back to that space, sacred space behind my eyes, where I find that inner peace, inner silence, inner greatness. And I pause, observing my thoughts. The mind is like a square, sometimes very busy, with people coming and going. Sometimes it's very restless. But I just pause and observe. Thoughts are coming in, passing by, and they just leave, like clouds in the sky. and I become a detached observer, watching those thoughts and letting them go. And I practice to remain silent, not judging them, just letting them go. And feel the silence that emerge in my mind. I become serene, calm, in this quiet space, sacred space within. Feeling the existence of myself behind this body, behind this matter. Just me, my thoughts, my being, my life, eternal life.
It was a lovely experience. Some people tend to, when they meditate, they tend to fight those thoughts. So what we should accept the thoughts that are coming, because some people think that meditation means that no thoughts should come. And if the thoughts come, they become irritable and they question if I'm doing the process correct or not.
Fighting the thoughts, it won't work. Because when you say, stop thinking of this, did you try? If you say to a thought, stop coming, it will come double.
Yeah.
it will be coming with his friends. So, but I can prepare in advance, like everything, like getting ready in advance, not to have that kind of thoughts. For example, if I'm accustomed to thoughts of anger, or judgment, judging things, criticism, or revenge. Like somebody did something bad to me and I keep having this kind of revengeful feeling. Then I need to prepare myself, maybe practicing some good feeling or peaceful state of mind. So it's like preventing those amount of thoughts to come. That's why the morning meditation, I find it very useful. It's like I prepare myself in advance according to the challenge I know I will face during the day. Like if I have to meet somebody that I know is a bit challenging, then I prepare myself.
It's like creating a shield so that...
Yeah, and also accepting that challenge.
Accepting that challenge, correct.
So it's a deep acceptance of a reality which is not perfect, but I can make myself stronger to face it. But I cannot fight the thought. It's like I cannot prepare myself during the examination. I will not ask the teacher, why do you ask me this question?
Yeah.
It will be silly. So I need to prepare my examination before.
Yeah. Correct.
So preparation is the meditation in the morning, and also learning, listening, studying in the morning. It will set the tone of my day. I will definitely become stronger in facing challenges. I find this amusing. In the morning, prepare myself for the day.
So we learned a lot of things today, and I'm sure if we implement this, our life will change and it will change for the better. And thank you so much, sister, for talking to us and giving us all these experiences.
Thanks to you. And thanks
pleasure.
to everybody. I enjoy sharing with all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Om
Shanti.